Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Mirror Dungeon solo video. Today we will be using the identity that showcases what Cassetti could have been if he actually had Bloodfeast, the Prince of Manchaland Meursault. He's pretty much your standard bloodfiend identity, absorbing Bloodfeast until he gains enough of his own unique status effect to be able to use an empowered skill 3. In comparison to the other bloodfiends, I'd say he's actually most similar to Priest Gregor, not because they're both tanky identities, but because they both serve as primarily support units. While Gregor supports the team by building up Bloodfeast with Self-Bleed, Meursault supports the team with his 3 unique status effects of Focus Performance, La Mancha Parade, and Hard Blood Armor. Focus Performance and La Mancha Parade both serve as simple damage buffs, while Hard Blood Armor is what does the most. For Meursault himself, it serves as his unique Bloodfiend status effect that he uses to empower his skill 3, as well as the primary source of his healing, as it will always guarantee a heal after an attack. While his allies also benefit from healing, its true strength lies in his passive, as any Manchaland identity with it at max stacks will not only gain focus performance, but also the ability to instantly recover from stagger. Obviously, with stagger being a very debilitating effect, any way to bypass it is inherently powerful, and for Prince Meursault effectively being able to give an anti-stagger effect to over half the team, that automatically makes him pretty good. And that's not even mentioning the fact that he also has good bleed support, decent damage, especially with his skill 3, and the previously mentioned damage buffs. He's just all around a really good identity. Anyway, to start the run off, we take these starter buffs and find these ego gifts on the first floor of Dregs of the Manor, before making it to the boss against the Dead Rabbits boss.
특이성 감지 센서 청속 타입 G 확인.
Alright, hello everyone. We are back with another video, this time with Cassetti Meursault. He's substantially better than regular Cassetti. I'm just gonna flat out admit that much. And yes, it's because he actually has Bloodfeast. I will never live that down. Like, Cassetti should have had Bloodfeast, man. They gave it to Meursault, but not Cassetti. And it's like, they're technically the same character, so it's like, you know, they did technically give Cassetti Bloodfeast, ha ha ha. But at the same time, it's just like, man, why you gotta tempt me like that, you know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, Meursault is just absolutely destroying this fight. Holy. This is definitely the most difficult, like, first floor boss that you can have, and Jesus, he just wiped the floor with him. We head into Hell's Chicken for the next floor, where we find the manor-shaped music box, fluorescent lamp, arrested hymn, rupture chicken, barbed lasso, contaminated needle, greatcoat, and emerald elytra, before making it to the boss against Papa Bongi. You know, something I kind of forgot about up until, like, literally just now is the fact that, yeah, this identity is also a rupture identity. He's not just pure bleed. And, you know, he's not the only bloodfiend that's like that. Both Rhodia and I think also Gregor share that same thing where they sort of support rupture, but not really. Like, they're all super count negative. I mean, look at this. His skill 3 is -3 count. That's terrible. So it's like they have rupture, but they're not rupture, you know what I mean? And that's only really relevant in the Mirror Dungeon itself, because it means that we can take advantage of a lot more useful ego gifts, and therefore we can boost our own damage up, like, even further than we would be able to normally. But that's just pretty typical at this point. And honestly, I feel like Project Moon has been adding a whole lot of, like, how should I say, unnecessary extra additions into identities like kits, where they just have like a sprinkling of a secondary status effect that they barely support, and it's purely so that they can, you know, it's purely so they can become more powerful in the mirror dungeon and take advantage of more than just a singular type of ego gift, because, you know, you kind of need that to be able to beat extreme mode in a reasonable amount of time. We head into Hatred and Despair for the next floor, where we find the Sharp Needle and Thread, Trauma Shield, and the Unmailed Letter, before making it to the boss against the Knight of Despair.
알쏭달쏭해. 뭐가 나올지 모르겠어.
You know, I'm glad I decided to never touch extreme mode again, because if I didn't, I would probably have to reset the entire run right now. Getting unlucky and just missing out on one singular ego gift that's really important, like the Knight of Despair's Blessing. You can't afford that if you're going to extreme mode.
특이성 감지 센서 청소 타입 G 확인.
Fortunately, we're not trying to do that. So, it doesn't matter. Thankfully. I mean, I am going to be going into extreme mode in this run. I've taken a little bit, too many starter buffs to not do that. But if we don't beat it, so be it. I don't really care.
벗어날 수 없는 굴레인 거야?
No, Queenie, dodge it. She didn't dodge it. You know, out of all of the bloodfiends, would I say that Meursault is the simplest? Probably not. I think I'd say. Well, actually, no. I was gonna say Priest Gregor is probably more simple, but then again, he's got his coin reuse on his.
W4 인재 관리 부서에서
정의보다도 푸른 자여, 사랑보다 붉은 자여.
Yeah, Priest Gregor has his coin reuse on his skill 3, which is kind of complicated in order to like actually get it to activate in like a consistent manner, because it can only activate when he's at max 30 of stacks of his bloodied hand, and that's quite difficult to get to because he doesn't start consuming bloodfeast until after he's at. Yeah, Priest Gregor is actually kind of complicated now that I'm thinking about it. But in any case, I would probably say that Meursault is the simplest of all of the bloodfiends. Like, his entire thing is very straightforward. He absorbs blood with his skill 1 and skill 2. And he absorbs the exact same amount with both of them as well, which isn't something that the other bloodfiends do. Their skill 1s absorb less blood than their skill 2, or in the case of Don Quixote, it's the other way around, where her skill 1 is more efficient than her skill 2. But in any case, yeah, Meursault, he absorbs the least amount of blood feast out of everyone, unless you're counting Priest Gregor in the start of a fight where he absorbs literally 0, but that actually makes him really good in the Blood Fiend team, because it makes it so that he needs way less bleed in order to actually power himself up. And therefore, you can move that extra blood feast onto the characters that absorb more. you know, it's like simple math stuff and the like. I don't really know what I'm saying, but anyways, yeah, he absorbed blood with his skill 1 and skill 2, and then he gets a powered up skill 3 as a result. He's also got some other stuff going on, like the focus performance, but like that barely does anything, so it's just extra damage, extra base power, basically, and that's it. You know, I am a little surprised we didn't actually kill the Knight of Despair early, considering the fact that we're bleed and rupture identity. Those two status effects just completely ignore her gimmick, so it would have been very easy for us to just kill her early, but thankfully we didn't. You're welcome, Queen. We head into Mountain of Corpses, Sea of Blood for the next floor, where we find smokes and wires, 4-leaf clover, standard duty battery, respite, Malarca, cigarette holder, imposed weight, broken greatsword, and sundered memory, before making it to the boss against the Spiral of Contempt.
거인들과 싸울 때가 떠오르네요. 또 날아가기 싫으시면 제대로 보고 대처하셔야 합니다. 이번엔 안 받아.
Hooray, we got the Spiral of Contempt. Let's go. Love this boss. It's such a shame that he's, like, kind of rare in the Mirror Dungeon. I mean, unless you're going into Extreme Mode, of course, but then he has the problem of being the final fight in a 3-turn wave, and, you know, if you're the final fight in a boss fight like that, then it's just... It's 10 times easier, because the reason why the Spiral of Contempt is a difficult fight, because he is a difficult fight, don't get me wrong. It's the fact that... It's his bleed damage, because as you see, we're running both Princess Rhodia and Feng Hunt Honglu for anti-bleed. But he still inflicts like a very sizable amount of bleed even with those. So much so that it's kind of really, really difficult to beat him without like a ton of extra support on it. And it doesn't help that we're also fatal to his damage type, which almost guarantees us getting staggered no matter what. But that doesn't really matter because of the music box. But if it wasn't for the music box, then yeah, we probably would lose because just because of the bleed damage, really. But other than that bleed damage, he's a pretty easy fight, so. We head into La Manchaland reopening for the next floor, where we find Piece of a Relationship, Rusty Commemorative Coin, Red Stain Gosipium, Melted Eyeball, Death Seeker, and Phantom Pain, before making it to the boss against the Barber. The Barber of La Manchaland. Nicolina? I think her name is. In any case, we gotta start this fight by using an ego for very obvious reasons. Being weak to gluttony damage and all. Can't keep that weakness. Will die 100%. The Barber is a very difficult fight, like, even without a weakness, because she's in a very similar situation as the Spiral of Contempt is, where she just inflicts a lot of bleed damage. Not quite as much as him, I don't think, but still a sizable amount. Is there a point to clash against this? Not really. It's better to clash against her regular attacks, so that way she does less damage, because unbreakable coins be very awkward to clash against when you're trying to avoid taking damage. Fortunately, we're just really strong. If I used two skill 3s there like I could have, we would have just staggered her. And yeah, that would have instantly won the fight, but we don't need to. We likely just win here. Maybe not. I don't know. There's a chance we don't quite have enough damage, but I believe. I shouldn't have believed. Oh well. Eclipse of Scarlet Moths has got our back. We head into time-killing time for the next floor, where we find the Manchaland All-Day Pass, Sanguine Fragrance Descends, Midwinter Nightmare, Rusted Clock Hands, Downpour, Bell of Truth, and the Etched Clock Hands, before making it to the boss against the Time Ripper. I will admit, I did kind of pick this floor because I wanted the revive gift, but of course, in classic RNG fashion, I didn't get it. Cool. Good thing I don't care about extreme mode anymore. That is one of the reasons why. It's just, you get unlucky once and you're just completely screwed. Oh well. What can you do? Restart the entire run even though it's taken me like over an hour to get to this point. I really like the Time Ripper. I wish he was stronger. But then again, it's like we're kind of overpowered at this point, so it's not really his fault that we're completely destroying him. He is trying his best, being resistant to slash damage and all that, but it's just not enough at this point. We don't even have like anything that's like really that strong. It's just like a whole bunch of different things all combined together that give us kind of absurd levels of strength. We'll see. Maybe he'll be able to do something. Probably not. We probably kill him here with this overture. He's definitely holding on a bit longer than I thought he would. That's for sure. It's definitely that slash resistance coming in clutch for him. Without that, he probably would have been dead turn 3. Well, he tried. We head into Yield My Flesh for the next floor, where we find Clear Mirror Calm Water, Charge Type Gloves, Tangled Bundle, Broken Revolver, and Lunar Memory, before making it to the boss against Bamboo-Hatted Kim. Alright, Bamboo-Hatted Kim. Kind of scary fight, for a very similar reason that the other characters were difficult. You know, the Spiral of Contempt and the Barber. Lots of bleed damage. Bleed damage is scary. What can I say? Fortunately, we now have Lunar Memory, which makes most fights before Extreme Mode pretty easy. And Kim is no exception. I mean, he didn't even stagger us. I mean, look at this. I mean, the bleed damage is kind of non-existent for Kim with the two anti-bleed support passives, but even without that, it's like Lunar Memory plus all this bleed damage that we're doing is enough to... It's enough to stagger him on turn 2, no matter what, so... Yeah, Kim's bleed damage, not an issue. Even if we had different support passives.
충격이네요. 앞으로도 그렇게만 해주세요.
That attack is pretty satisfying, I'd say. Unless you kill with any coin besides the final one, because then he doesn't do the final absorption, and that it kind of feels like it's missing something if that's the case. We head into the dream ending for the next floor, where we find the fractured blade, worn hilt, rusted hilt, blue star shard, artistic sense, finifugality, melted spring, and resolution before making it to the boss against Sancho. Alright, Sancho. Another fight where, you guessed it, they're threatening because of their bleed damage. Also just sheer raw damage too, because we're fatal to blunt. That's kind of scary. I'm actually gonna start with an ego. Specifically to, yeah, make that deal less damage. Because I don't know if we can survive the first turn otherwise without this extra resistance. Sancho's kind of a little scary.
모범적인 청소 방식을 확인했습니다. 인사부서에 해당 요원에 대한 평가를
Yeah, look at that. Already taking off half our health. Ooh, close. Thankfully, literally everything after the first turn is pretty easy with Sancho, because, yeah, she's a ridiculously scripted fight. So it's like, yeah, she can't do anything. You do too much damage to her, and then you trigger the face transition before she can even do any damage to you. Like, that's how this fight goes. First turn's hard. Everything afterward is the easiest thing in the world. Hilarious. Hilariously anticlimactic fight. That's why we're not picking it last. Still though, gotta pick it because Bloodfiend versus Bloodfiend. It makes sense. It's fitting. But it's not a particularly hard fight. And that's just the nature of scripted fights in the mirror dungeon, really. Like, would Sancho be difficult if she didn't get, you know, forced to end her turn every single time? Probably not, but like, you never know. We head into Refraction Railway, Line 5, for the next floor, where we find the Token of Victory, Coveting Thorn, Nebulizer, Crushed Memory, Devil's Share, Angel's Cut, Night Vision Goggles, and Fragment of Inertia, before making it to the boss against Line 2. Aw, man. We got the easy floor. Boo. I wanted section 3. So that way we could fight the roses and more bloodfiends, but instead we got the Envy Pecatulum section 2. Which is ridiculously easy because, yeah, a single ego instantly kills it, like, everyone. This game is something else sometimes, you know. And now we could probably beat the rest without using any egos. I mean, they did get, the Kurokuma gang did get slash, or not slash, but 4 lust skills, which is kind of scary. Where's... Yeah, right. Passives. It's because of, yeah, Ishmael. Like... What is it? Dark... I forget. Yeah, this Dark Cloud. She applies Dark Cloud to all Kurokuma clans when there's a 4+ lust resin, which makes them all, they all have unbreakable coins, and they all cannot be staggered. So, yippee! Very cool. Gotta deal with that. Shouldn't be too bad, to be honest. Like we kill Heathcliff first, and then we take down Ishmael next because she does not get the benefit of the... She's the only one that doesn't get unbreakable coins and the anti-stagger. So she is the most vulnerable out of everyone.
방금 어떻게 하신 거죠? 깜짝 놀랐어요.
And yeah, this should be good.
거기다 거두겠다.
Unlucky. Unlucky that we missed that. That means we don't kill now. And that means the unbreakable coins come in.
체력이 많이 깎여나갔어.
We might die here.
게 느껴지지 않아? 이 기세로 계속 나아가 보자.
There's a chance we die here. Let's see. Yep, we died. That was barely. That was literally the perfect amount of damage. Oh well. Next time we'll get it luckier and won't have the 4 lust, so... Yeah.
적들이 뭔가 기분이
Same
좋아
thing
보이는
again.
것 같아.
Use the ego for the first wave and hope that there is no lust resonance in the second. Nice.
여러분들
Okay, they got it again. They got the RNG again, but... there is no but. We're actually substantially worse off because we did not get to attack the last turn, and therefore we don't have the offense level from Clear Mirror Calm Water anymore. So yeah. Winning clashes has become a challenge all of a sudden.
워프율차 연산 시스템은 해당 행동에 약 14%의 장미 기여도가 있음을 판단했습니다.
And we're most certainly not gonna kill. Like we did it last time. Definitely not going to this time. The bleed damage gets him. That might do something.
방금 멋졌어.
We'll see. I don't think we survive.
빛의 힘이 저 어둡고
If we do, it's gonna be close. No, we don't.
이대로면 승리도 시간 문제.
Just gotta get lucky. Okay, this time we got really lucky. I mean, obviously there's the
제압하는데 이용할 수 있을지도.
there's the obvious luck where there is not 4 lust skills in play currently. But even luckier is the fact that we just, simply put, didn't kill everyone very quickly in the first wave. So now we have more skill slots, and also we have the ability to use Overture immediately. So yeah, even if there was 4 lust skills again in this wave, it probably wouldn't have mattered.
기념할 만한 걸.
Never mind. Okay, thank you, Heathcliff. I appreciate that.
방금 어떻게 하신 거죠? 깜짝
Okay, what was that I was saying about this being the easiest of the Railway 5 floors? Because, yeah, yikes. Scary. Very scary. But hey, we got kind of lucky again by this time just instantly killing everyone with the ego on the first wave, so...
効果的な攻撃でした。
That means Eclipse of Scarlet Moths instantly kills one of the Pecatulum, and that effectively disables the ability to activate Ishmael's passive. Which means no unbreakable coins. And we kill Heathcliff immediately so he can't counter us to death. Very cool. Okay, I think we finally managed to win. Nice. Make sure Heathcliff is dead. I don't want to deal with him anymore. That's the number one biggest thing. Kill Ishmael and Heathcliff. They're the biggest threats. And once they're gone, yeah, the rest of the fight should be free.
해당 행동에 약 14%의 정리 기여도가 있음을 판단했습니다.
개체들의 체력이 많이 깎여 나갔어. 괴로워하는 게 느껴지지 않아?
I love it when you have to play around specific gimmicks like that, and by play around them I mean just get lucky and not have to deal with them at all. That's cool. I mean, I probably could have played around it, like the turn the attempt Heathcliff countered me to death. I could have probably beaten that one, but I just forgot that was an ability he had, so yeah. He uses Rules of the Backstreets as a counter if you kill one of his allies. Forgot about that, so he killed me. Oh well. Very satisfying ending for that. I like that. You know, one thing I've yet to talk about, like, in this entire run, because it really hasn't been much of an issue up until this point, is the fact that Meursault is the only bloodfiend who is kind of capped with the amount of his unique status effect that he can gain with the bloodfeast, because each one of his skills, like his skill 1 and skill 2, it can only be used to absorb bloodfeast once per turn, so unlike most of the other bloodfiends who can do it pretty much as they want, yeah, Meursault is limited in the amount he can do it, so he can only get like 1, maybe 2 overtures off per turn, which is definitely the weakest of all the bloodfiends, I'd say. But it's only really an issue in solos, you know, because the once per turn thing, it only affects when you give him multiple skill slots, so in a team it doesn't really matter. We head into Murder on the Warp Express for the next floor, where we find the Hard Blood Glaive, Bloody Flesh, Fleshy Blood, and Skeletal Crumbs before making it to the boss against Cassetti. Okay, so Cassetti for the final floor. Obviously, disappointing fight because Cassetti doesn't have blood feast for some reason. Don't know why. He should, absolutely. He's a blood fiend after all. But anyway, something else I want to talk about more than how disappointing this fight is the fact that on this floor, right, they've introduced a lot of new ego gifts, but 2 of them are related to the blood fiends. One of them increases the amount of, what is it, blood? Yeah, it increases the amount of blood feast that you gain instantly at the start of a turn, so you can, you know, start building up your status effect without having to do bleed damage first. And then the other one gives this Hard Blood Glaive, which gives you extra clash power and makes it so that if you... What does it do exactly? Extra clash power. And then you consume HP for every missing blood feast. And that's kind of it, I think. So it's like, it's a it's fairly useful, don't get me wrong. But that usefulness, and this is something that's fairly interesting when it comes to these ego gifts, because how strong they are is dependent on how many blood fiends you have in your team, right? So the more blood fiends you have, the stronger the ego gift's effect is. And if you have every blood fiend, then obviously the effect is going to be the most powerful it can be. However, unlike other ego gifts that have a similar requirement of you having a certain amount of specific units, most notably the fusion ego gifts, these ones don't actually require you to have the blood fiends in the team, right? So they're actually effective in solo runs. You can use them at their max power in solo runs, because you just need them on the team, not in the fight. And that's kind of why I've been running like the full blood fiend team as the support passives, all of the blood fiends, when normally I would not have Don Quixote in the team, because her support passive just isn't very good. Like, it's fine, but yeah, it's certainly not the greatest. But anyway, it's very cool that they're adding ego gifts that require a full team but are still useful in solo runs. So obviously this fight though itself against Cassetti, it's not that hard. I mean, they literally gave him a passive that makes him substantially weaker against Manchaland identities, and considering the fact that we're using a Manchaland identity, obviously he doesn't stand a chance, so. Gotta pick this floor though for the mirror match. Even if it's not particularly difficult.
모범적인 청소 방식을 확인했습니다. 인사부서에 해당 요원에 대한 평가를 성신합니다.
We head into a certain book for the final floor where we find Faith before making it to the boss against the Fairy Festival.
저 개체가 기세등등해 보여요.
Okay, here we go. Fairy Festival. Kind of scary. Kind of. Not really, but kind of. I mean, very scary. I don't know if we can beat this. Hold on a second. These guys are, yeah, they're not, yeah, okay, I get it. I get it. Risky. Very risky. Not a guarantee. But kind of have to. Anyway. Fairy Festival. Cool fight. I'm glad it's actually in the mirror dungeon now, so it's something that we can have. I don't like that it's only accessible in extreme mode, but is what it is. It's honestly a pretty interesting fight. Specifically because of how its gimmick works, because it kind of... Its main gimmick is that it takes, like, substantially less damage as long as, like, its minions are alive. And all damage that you do to it is then transferred to the minions. And so it's like... It's not really that difficult, like, right now, but as you get later and later into the... into extreme mode, it's like, it gets really hard. Like, the more health these guys have, the more difficult it is, because it makes it... You have to stagger the fairy masses in order for the fairy queen to then eat them, and then it gets a lot of debuffs and yada yada yada, but... Yeah, a lot of the damage just... You just don't do a whole lot of damage to this thing. Unless, you know... You manage to kill all of the fairy masses on the same turn, right? That's pretty much the one and only way you can effectively guarantee that you will have all of your, you know, your damage going into the fairy. But it's very difficult to do that the later you take this floor. To the point where it becomes... It just gets... It's a really long fight if you take it late. So basically what I'm saying is, don't take this fight late. Don't do it. It's a mistake. It's not very difficult per se, but it just takes literally eons to complete because of how tanky the fairy becomes. Even now, you can see it's like it's taking quite a bit of time. Like, most other fights are already done by this point. I mean, look at Cassetti, for example, right? He instantly died in like 2 turns, maybe even less. I don't remember. I literally just did it like 10 minutes ago. Why don't I remember that? Whatever. Point is, tanky boss. Love this boss, though. It's very cool. I'm glad it has replayability finally. Definitely one of my favorite fights in this game.
아까 했던 공격 덕에 한결 수월해진 것 같아요. 좋네요.
You know, this track, right? Second Warning from Library. It's definitely like it's easily my favorite song in like the entire Project Moon library. Like the track library, not the game. And a lot of that has to do with its association with the Queen. I will admit that much. But yeah, pretty cool fight. I like that one.
개체들의 체력이 많이 깎여 나갔어. 괴로워하는 게 느껴지지 않아?
행진을 멈추지 마라. 이 좁디 좁은 왕국을 넘어 멸망한 그 땅으로 돌아갈 때까지 보아라. 저들이 우리의 모습을 우러러 보는 것을.
And that's how I beat Mirror Dungeon 6 hard using only Prince Meursault. He's a decently powerful identity who has really good support options and fits quite well with the other bloodfiend identities. In addition, he also has access to a particularly powerful bleed ego in Yearning Mercala, which just gives you all the more reason to use him. Anyway, that's it for me. Like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Goodbye!